WJBW Orlando, the very first quasi-radio web show. Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Welcome back. WJBW Networks proudly presents on the weekly a live internet broadcast. The Reverend across the way. It is the JB Rev Show. I am JB Webb at Radio JB Webb.
I am the Reverend.
At Radio JB Webb on the Twitter machine. And you are the Reverend.
I am.
At REVJERR. If you want to follow him there, you can do it. But mostly every week, it's pretty easy, pretty simple. Live broadcast weekly, every Tuesday night, 7 to 9, 7 to 8:30-ish maybe. And then it distributes out to about 10 different sites. Spreaker is the main hub. You can download it there, or iTunes, or virtually anywhere. It's a lot of places. And I want to welcome you to this fine edition. We have one big thing to do today, and it's interview a serious local legend. I wanted you to come up with kind of a name over there, Rev, because we, local legend supreme for Jim Phillips. Maybe this is actually another local legend supreme. 7-generation Floridian Donn Colee Jr. is going to be calling us 7:30 hour. We're going to talk about his history with broadcasting, his origins. Also, he's an author. He wrote a book called
Towers in the Sand.
Towers in the Sand. TowersInTheSand.com is the site. You can go check it out. And that made me think, we're going to do a little breaking news badly. Of course, not now.
Not now, man. Come on, intern. Jeez.
Do we know?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, dude. No, we're not doing it now. I know. We do it at the end. We do it at the end.
If we do it at all.
We might have a surprise birthday call in there as well. But with this whole session, we're going to be, I guess, a little bit more NPR-ish than we...
Yeah, that's, you know what?
Which is good, right?
It is very good.
Yeah, I think
we need to make this sometimes a little more family-oriented.
Yeah, maybe we do. Maybe we should be a little bit more, hey, it's okay for everybody to listen, because that's really the spirit of the show.
It's safe from little ears.
Okay. Oh, what is that? That's somebody's logo. It's a 98 whatever. Safe for little ears. That sounds weird.
It's a Christian radio station.
Oh, is that what it is? Well,
and Real Radio actually took not safe for little ears.
Oh, okay.
They actually have a T-shirt that says that, not safe for little ears.
Get a little dicey. Well, I'm a little ambivalent about the whole thing. I want to have intelligent conversations, but I also don't want anybody. I want to say whatever the hell I want to say. So this is live broadcasting. Edit it out, bleep it out, maybe, or something like that. If we could get that. Do we got one of those?
Yeah, of course we do. We got all that stuff.
No, that's not a beat.
No,
oh my
God. Well, that was you. That's why.
Okay.
So wait.
That's the intro.
There it is. So shut the up.
Oh, I see. Okay,
right.
Good.
You can try it.
All right. Shut the up, you. With a dirty little.
I wish you would also turn off your microphone whenever, because that's what it's really. A real sensor button, that's what it does.
Well, we got a radio professional calling in, and again, that's the goal of what we do here. We want to help praise people on the weekly, shine a light on deserving people that are busting their ass, busting their booty, whatever is more PC, I guess. Now I'm all worried.
Yeah.
Now you're flushing the...
Hey, we're going to be talking Donn Colee.
Hey,
Donn Colee Jr.
Soft Taco Robert, and
that's right.
The other guy.
Wild and Mornings.
There you go.
Get crazy.
Yeah.
With the kids.
We can get there. Well, I'd like to get there.
All right.
I'd like to get somewhere with what we're doing, because I thought about it today, and it's like somebody asks how you doing, and sometimes you're not always doing great, right? And you're like, I'm wonderful. I'm just so great. I'm just so wonderful.
You know what I say a lot?
And it's not sincere.
I'm stellar.
Stellar. Oh, I like that.
Which is better than, super.
I'm super.
I'm stellar. Or, if I'm really feeling feisty, I'll say, I'm fierce.
That's where it's at.
There you go.
Freaking fierce.
Brought back the Joseph Martin's drop.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
There you go. And that's a great thing to promote, too. 104.1 on Sundays. The Sunday mornings. The beautiful Sunday morning coming down.
In the city beautiful. Orlando, which is where we're located right now.
That's right.
And, so enough plugs. Let's talk about real stuff here.
I've been living the American dream.
Jim Jackson, he does. I saw him over the weekend.
So, yeah.
It's always good to see Jim. Love that guy.
And there you go, Jim Jackson Art. Just Google it and you'll find it.
right
There you go.
now.
We want to support our friends. That's what we're all about. We want to support
ArtArmy.org.
people we don't know and make new friends. Because again,
I don't need any more friends.
We're wrapping it up. That's kind of how the show is built and put together, and that was always the premise. And so keep
Your
that in mind.
premise,
You're
maybe.
listening to this. No, that's our premise. That's
Oh,
what we
that's
talked
right.
about.
We did talk about it.
We want to be able to.
We want to focus and shine the light on the talented people that we,
to be an important voice.
Yeah.
That's free for everyone. And
Exactly.
Anyway, so there you go. And then so we have an author on a little later tonight, and it made me think. When was the last time you read a book?
Man, I got to say, probably.
But I
like
will.
beginning to end.
Audible.
I don't think
counts-
ever.
Audible counts like a
Honestly,
read a book.
can I really say that? Honestly, from maybe three.
Okay.
Without like cheating or skipping ahead or every damn word of every
Okay.
page in the book, beginning to end.
Okay.
Maybe one, and it was the Bible.
Yeah, that's. Oh well, good.
Yep.
That's good for you. So good. We're going to feature some music a little bit later. Ashes to New sent us some new stuff, so check that out. We got a little bit of Misery Slims on deck, but I thought we'd start out supporting local like we do. Got a couple tracks from Evan Taylor Jones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. And you know it? But, okay.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff right there.
All right. Well.
Yeah, you gonna play it?
Yeah, we're going to go into a couple of tracks. We're going to come back.
You're such a tease.
Try to prep up for the call. And I wanted to open the phone lines, I guess, only up until 7:30. So we play a little
then we're
music. You got
shutting
to call.
down.
You want to call about something.
Call right now.
Like if you're a 6-year-old and you got an opinion on Trump,
We're not going to talk.
We want to hear it.
No, we don't talk politics.
We
So
want-
that's not going to happen.
It's not politics. It's an opinion.
No, and we don't
a-
need Johnny calling
It's
either. That guy.
op-ed, right? It's
Oh my God!
you're not
Please.
pandering to anyone.
I'm not.
Oh, you're
I'm
not?
pandering to the
It
author.
sounds like you are.
I mean, you know what? I might have to
Oh, you gonna do something?
read a book. It's like 386 pages.
Yeah.
Towers
Okay.
in the Sand.
All right.
And it's did you know he picked up the most data ever compiled about all the
He
radio
really did a
stations?
great job in researching. And he did
I
the
read
most
a
thorough,
great article.
comprehensive job. So that kind of brings us back to: have you ever, when was the last time you read a book? And even,
Well, let me tell you something, and I'm glad you kind of asked that because I do read a lot.
Yeah.
But I read articles and I read,
Okay.
and I read a lot of music reviews.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I do read a lot. There's no doubt.
Oh, so then
But
there you go.
as far as books,
well, I mean, a book is is an entire experience. You can kind of
Right.
walk away from it.
I don't think I really read
With
for
something
entertainment. I read
more.
for knowledge.
Okay.
So I'm not going to read a book about fiction, about some, story.
I
I'd
gotcha.
rather watch it.
Right.
And,
Okay.
experience it.
Wait until they make
And
the
not
movie.
Concur it up in my own head. I got enough shit going up there. I don't have to
What'd you say?
think about what color the drapes are in
Okay.
the spooky room that the girl's in.
Okay,
You
that
know?
sounds weird.
Yeah, well, fiction books to me, that, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
I'm a lover, not a writer.
Apparently.
Actually, I'm a
Challenges
pretty good
with
writer. I just
talking
can't
as well.
punctuate and spell
Okay.
correctly. So,
Yeah. Okay.
other than that, I know what.
Well, don't be so hard on yourself.
I know. That's
feeling-
why I'm always depressed.
I'm feeling wonderful,
Man,
everything's great. Don't.
Yeah, that's so
But,
fake, like you were saying.
But no, but
I'm stellar.
I wanted to kind of come back to that though, because too, it really can impact your mindset. So you find opportunities when you're more optimistic. Now, I'm not saying being overcoyingly sweet optimistic, where it's like, "Hey, everybody, get together, let's get together."
Yeah.
I know. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about.
Yeah, good. Because if you ever did that at a party that I was at, you started doing that, I would have to ask you to leave.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You're gonna have to leave.
It's more like a thing inside your own head that you can say, "Hey,
Hey.
I look at stuff this way." Like you're driving, somebody cuts you off or whatever. Sometimes you can take it bad. Sometimes you don't take it bad. Right? It depends on
That's
the
right.
mood. The mood that you're in.
You never know what that person's
So when
going
everything's situational, if you can control your attitude, that's the piece of advice. That's the
Don't-
wisdom, I guess.
Stop pointing your finger at me
What?
and telling me I got an attitude.
What?
Because I'll,
No, you
I'll
didn't
come
hear
over
me.
there.
I said
you think
no.
I got an attitude? Hey,
What are you-
you put the finger down.
All right.
Pow, pow.
Okay,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
now.
You're gonna break some new. I'll break your face.
Do we know?
Yeah,
No,
see,
do
he
not.
does not.
God.
No.
All right,
when to
you
do
guys
it.
are just wacky in the early evening.
Okay, that's
All right,
right.
a little bit of Evan Taylor Jones, a couple of
Evan
tracks.
Taylor, the local guy.
We'll come back, maybe talk a little bit about music, food, and then
Yeah.
prep for our 7:30 call with Donn Colee.
That's right. And we'll talk about some
Colee.
guests we're going to have in the future.
Oh, well, wanted
coming
to
up.
talk about that too. Maybe we should play the music. Come back.
Yeah, let's
play
do
the
that.
music.
All right, yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
Evan Taylor Jones. Google him. Dig it.
Trying to move on, babe, and can't do it, and can't do it alone. This is the life that you asked for. Not simple at all, but just enough to get you by. Mom at home saying be strong, time's gonna fly. Walk with your chin up high, baby, and just believe. Be strong, why be afraid? You got everything you need right here when you look over your shoulder, yeah. If that's where I'll be. When you look over your shoulder, yeah. If that's where I'll be. You're trying to be strong and use strength from within. Well, it seems like you need a friend to call when you say when. Who's gonna shelter you when mom's miles away? You've got to build a home and go your own way. Walk with your chin up high, baby, and just believe. Be strong, why be afraid? You got everything you need right here when you look over your shoulder. If that's where I'll be. When you look over your shoulder, yeah. That's where I'll be. Ooh, yeah. Look over your shoulder, yeah. Look over your shoulder. Be strong. Why be afraid? You got everything you need right here when you look over your shoulder. That's where I'll be. When you look over your shoulder. That's where I'll be. You're trying to move on, babe, and can't do it alone. This is the life that you asked for. One day you'll find that I loved you without reason. And just as the flowers that bloom, one day, one time, it'll be our season. Darling, you and I will be just alike. Forever you and me. We'll be just alike. So together we must be. You belong to me. Who's gonna have your back and make you feel like nothing less than sweet sight? And just as the sun rises in the east, you'll shine just like an empress. I'll be your king in time. We'll be just alike. Forever you and me. We'll be just alike. So together we must be. He belongs to me. Belongs to me. He belongs to me. just like
WJBW Orlando, the very first quasi-radio web show.
All right, we're
Hey,
back.
what's up? Welcome back.
That's right.
The JB Rev Show.
The JB Rev
There
Show.
you go. We do it every single week. We speak with talented people, give
Yep,
them a little bit
we
of
do.
recognition, try to learn a little bit about them, most
Little bit.
importantly. And then kind of spread awareness of what they're doing. And this week is our hashtag Rich History Edition.
That's right.
And I'm excited that we were able to line this up because
Me too.
Donn Colee is just incredible example of what a local legend is, right?
Right.
Seventh generation Floridian
And a second generation broadcaster. His dad was
there
a
you go.
famous
Donn
broadcaster.
Colee Sr. Yeah,
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to talk with him. So everybody, all right, hang tight over there, okay? All right, you just
I'm
stop
glad you
doing
noticed,
stop
finally.
that.
I've been
Okay.
living the Yeah, that's where American it's at.
All
dream.
right, wow.
We're going to
look
go
at
into a local legend session with Donn Colee Jr. Let's do it. Local legend section. Donn Colee Jr., author of TowersInTheSand.com.
.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
Famed Orlando, Florida history
Seven
in broadcasting.
generations.
It covers everything. It's a remarkable read, and there's a ton of history there. It's the most detailed, I would say, report.
The most data about Florida.
Yeah, it's a great, and so he has a radio history himself. We are honored and pleased, and just man, thank you so much for calling in. We have him on the line. It's Donn Colee Jr. Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Hey, JB. How you doing, Rev?
Hey, very
Great.
good, man. Good to have you on, for sure.
Without question.
Could you just continue the accolades a little bit more, please? More of the applause track in there?
Yeah, yeah. There you go. All right, we'll give you more of those because that's a well-deserved. Good man, well-deserved. Well-deserved. Donn Colee Jr. Thanks again for doing this, being a part of what we do. I love. I love what you've done, you're doing, and I really want to get to it and kind of talk about the book. And we always kind of find out about people's origins. So, I mean, for anybody that listens to this now in the future, give us a good sense of maybe how you grew up, because you've done radio before, you've done. Other things. And what I'm really interested in is seeing the natural inclination with the writing or the documenting. So give us some color around that, Donn.
Okay, well, sure. I'd be happy to. And I'm very pleased to be on your show this morning, or this evening. Is it morning or evening?
It's evening.
It's morning somewhere, and it's evening now. Yeah, so you're right either way, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, when people ask me why I wrote this book, as you noted, I'm a second generation Florida broadcaster, seventh generation Floridian.
Right.
My mother and father met as high school students at a little radio station in St. Augustine.
Really?
The radio station was WFOY, which stood for Fountain of Youth Radio. It was owned by the same guy, the mayor of St. Augustine at the time,
Right.
who also owned the Fountain of Youth.
Right.
And he put a radio station on the air, WFOY.
Uh-huh.
My father was a jive talking disc jockey
Yeah, right.
on that station.
Okay.
My mom mom, and both of them were still in high school at the time.
Wow.
My mom was the town crier, and at noon every day she rang the bell and talked about, the area activities that were going on in St. Augustine area, and the ladies' auxiliary that was meeting and all of that kind of stuff. So that's really kind of where broadcasting, when I say broadcasting's in my blood, it's pretty literally in my blood.
Exactly.
My dad moved to Leesburg, Florida.
Okay.
To a startup radio station there. I was born in Leesburg.
All right.
Actually, I was born in Eustis because Leesburg was too small at the time to have a hospital.
Wow.
So I was born in Eustis, but moved at a young age, maybe 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old, to Orlando. Now, you guys are in Orlando, aren't you?
Yep, we sure are. We are.
I mean, I know you're all around the world on
but
the radio
we're
show.
broadcasting from Orlando. Yeah, the studios here in Orlando.
Right, we're very close to Lake
I grew up in
Under.
Orlando. I went to what was then Howard Junior High School.
Wow. And what high school?
It was kind of a Howard Junior High School. The school is still there. I've forgotten what it's called now. It was kind of like a reform school at the time. It was a pretty tough school.
What did you got a high school?
Edgewater High School.
Edgewater. Okay, awesome.
There.
Yeah.
And while I was at Edgewater, my father had moved. He had gone up north in broadcasting, moved back down to South Florida to the West Palm Beach area where I live now.
Right.
And bought a radio station. And so I started hanging around his radio station down here when I would visit him.
Okay.
And I got my license. In those days, you had to have a license to be a radio announcer.
Right, just to have your voice on the airwaves. You had to have a license for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So I got my license, and but was still living in Orlando. My parents were divorced.
Okay.
Once I got my license, I applied for a job at WLOF. Radio, which is 950 on the dial.
And okay,
I can't remember what their call letters are at this point, but in the day, this was in the mid 1960s, like 1964.
That's great.
All right.
And in the day, WLOF was the top rock and roll radio station in Central Florida.
Okay.
We called ourselves Channel 95. We were the boys with the noise. WHOO radio, which at that time was also rock and roll. Those were that was the enemy. And in my book is almost a whole chapter about the shenanigans and fun that we had in radio, in rock and roll radio in the mid 1960s with the Beatles invasion.
That was such a great time,
right? The whole Beatlemania.
That was such a great time. I mean, just to have that experience. Now, that was at this point, that was you yourself doing that.
Yeah,
that was me. Yeah, that was me.
So
and
I
used my real name on the air. Most of the guys had different names,
right?
But Bill Vermillion was his real name, and but I used Donn Colee. I was still in high school. I started out running religious programming on Sunday mornings, running just tapes, and then got an hour at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning to play rock and roll music, and expanded from there. I did weekends. I did Saturday and Sunday nights on WLOF. And had the time of my life.
I bet.
At this time, I was graduating from Edgewater High School.
Wow. And
at this time, there was a junior college there, Orlando Junior College, which I think is now called Hillcrest. It's a prep school.
Okay.
Where that campus is.
All right.
So I was, quote, going to college. At the same time, I was a teenage disc jockey and doing doing appearances and everything else. I was having so much fun.
I can imagine.
That I did not keep my grades up. And in 1966, if you didn't keep your grades up in college, you got your draft notice.
Right, right.
This was still in the active draft, and of course, it was the time that LBJ was sending every young American boy off to Vietnam. And I didn't feel like going to Vietnam at that point, so I joined the Navy.
Oh, man. So now, did you continue the broadcasting? Were you a DJ in the Navy?
I actually, there probably are some people in your audience who kind of remember those days of the draft. And The recruiters who will tell you anything. Well, the recruiters told me that, you remember the movie Good Morning Vietnam?
Of course, yeah, with Robin Williams. Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Oh, you were
great
there?
show. They told me I was going to be a star on Armed Forces Radio.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Now,
Dude, are you? That's incredible.
That is not the job that they assigned me to in the Navy.
Of course not.
And I can't talk about the job that I did in the Navy because I'd have to kill you.
But
I
top
did
secret.
work part-time at Armed Forces Radio in Morocco.
Okay.
I did part-time jobs, part-time air shifts there, and once again just had a lot of fun doing that.
Good morning,
It was
Morocco.
not quite Good Morning Vietnam, but it was rock and roll radio in Morocco.
Rock and roll
So that
radio
was-
in Morocco.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got a nice ring.
Yeah,
that's the boys with the noise.
That's a phonetic.
Morocco.
That's a
That's
delightful
right.
phonetic. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Speaking with Donn Colee Jr., thanks for kind of diving that deep. And
Yeah.
I want to keep on this linear track because I think it's important. You know, you had mentioned the draft, and people, I guess, today in America don't, and you mentioned, if you don't keep your grades up, then you're subject to the draft. It's like people forget kind of the sacrifices Americans before us, were kind of put into more of a box than we are in today, so it puts a good perspective on it. So thank you for that. But don't let me bust your linear track going. So
that's all right. And please feel free to give me the hook if I get off too much on a tangent.
I got to give JB the hook.
No, we've got this entire show literally dedicated to talking with you. So if you can stay, hang on with us for half an hour.
We admire
that's wonderful.
what you do, what you've done.
Would be marvelous. So and again, I think it's enlightening, to talk about the temperature, the climate of the country, and like you're saying, the rock and roll music was virtually, not even 10 years old, I guess, right? And
well, yeah, sure. Well, the rock and roll started, in the early 50s,
right? But the styles was really changing in late 60s.
It was, still pretty fresh, and the British invasion happened at the time that I was on the air at WLOF. I grew a Beatles haircut. I grew my hair long, relatively long. By today's standards, it was not that long, but it was kind of the cut that the Beatles had in the early days. And that was all part of the show, and it was we simply were having fun on the air. The owner of the station, or the general manager of the station at the time, said, as long as you guys don't get me in legal trouble, you go have fun, and if you're having fun, the audience will have fun.
Exactly.
And we did. We did, and the audience had fun at the same time. So that was kind of, that was my beginnings in real radio. I mean, prior to that, as a kid, I played radio, like a lot of people did, with like real records and things like that.
And of course, it helped that your dad owned a radio station too. I mean,
Well, yeah, and he didn't own the station until I was like 16 or probably 15 or 16. He owned the station down here.
Gotcha.
And so I was never on the air at his station down here.
Right.
But hanging around that station was where I got, really learned a lot about the business and got my license and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So you're right. I mean, I've had a lot of great breaks. Absolutely no doubt about it.
And radio's kind of almost built like that, right?
It is.
Really kind of is.
Being at the right place,
I had a
time.
similar trajectory right out of high school. I was into AM radio station and worked there for a few years. But, unfortunately, at that point, I guess was in the 90s, the money wasn't there, where I was at. So at any rate, you've either got to decide, hey, I'm going to move all across the country and go to a different market altogether and try to rebrand myself over there, or try to wait till this guy dies. It's on the afternoon drive shift.
Sure.
So
there's a story. My book, Towers in the Sand: The History of Florida Broadcasting, is really a collection of stories by people who were in the business.
Right.
When people say, well, a book about broadcasting, the history of broadcasting, they think it's going to be like a telephone book with a lot of you remember they used to have telephone books back
right.
in the
Of course.
Southern Bell.
With, just lists and lists of call letters and frequencies and towns and dates. Well, I didn't want to write that kind of a book. I wanted to write a book. My goal was to write a book that anybody could pick up and find some enjoyable stories,
right,
whether they were in the business or not.
Gotcha.
And and the feedback that I've gotten is that I was relatively successful with that. But it's really just collections of stories from all across the state, from radio to television, from the really, really early days of when they were making it all up as they went along,
right,
to 2015, to the changes the industry's been through. I think, JB, was that you that said that you had the job in the 90s at an AM radio station?
Right, yes, correct.
Yeah. That was a really, really tough time for stations.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, these are tough times for stations.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because,
you're right.
The whole industry is trying to figure out what it's going to do now that it has reached, past maturity.
Right. The technology has exceeded.
And what we're doing right now is a great example of what the sort of, new world that we live in, because you can have a radio station on your computer, and you do. You can broadcast around the world without an FCC license, without, with or without the need for commercials or other things.
Right.
Yet, I sincerely believe that there is still a very important place in American society for over-the-air broadcast radio and television stations.
Absolutely.
Even though we have the technical capabilities to do a lot of stuff without it.
So
go ahead.
Well, that being said, I mean, I know where you're transitioning into this, and I'll tell you, especially here in Florida, and we're talking with the author Donn Colee Jr., who wrote Towers in the Sand, but for like the hurricanes, for instance, I mean,
absolutely,
yeah. So and that's what. Explain a little more about how that unifies us, the broadcast aspect of it,
Well, you're absolutely right, because your radio station, the JB Rev show on the internet,
right,
has worldwide capabilities, but in a severe emergency, when people lose their internet connection, when cable is down, when power is out for days or weeks at a time, as we experienced. Did you all live through the hurricanes in 2004, 2005?
Absolutely,
Orlando was
yes.
in the crosshairs of all of them.
Yeah.
And you remember, you probably didn't have electricity for a long, long time.
I was
Your
out
cell
with
phone,
2 weeks, and you have to have an AM FM radio, or
Absolutely. People have forgotten that radio actually can come in over the air without the need for cable or the internet.
And let's face it,
that's a very important service.
And that's when people need it the most. They need to have that reassuring person letting them know where they can get help and that everything's okay. And people, they go into panic mode, and without that, and without, people, representing, stay positive and keep calm, it would be
Some
chaos.
sense of order.
Yeah, I mean, it really, because for instance, we've had Drew Garabo on here, and he would go on with the 2004 hurricanes, and he was on the air for 14 hours straight, because a lot of people were without power and they needed help, and so that's what's really important about the broadcasting, and just the whole history, what you've done, and the information you've compiled is awesome. It's really,
it's very impressive. And to be able to get some time to speak with you, just to understand, I think the book is incredible, and I really want to kind of, keep that for a little bit later, because I really want to find out more about you and your trajectory. So if we can kind of do a little aside, come back to the book.
Sure.
Where did we leave off in your kind of personal? We were at the 60 station.
When I was flunking out of college.
Okay.
All right.
And I joined the Navy.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Okay, there we go.
4 spectacular years in the Navy. It was one of the best educations I could ever imagine.
There you go.
All right.
I never set foot on a ship,
Wow.
except as a tourist. One time in Pensacola when I was going to service school, and an aircraft carrier was in port, and I lined up with the rest of the tourists and went and looked at the aircraft carrier. But I had duty in Morocco and Taiwan.
Wow.
So I went around the world, and it was a fantastic experience for me.
Wow.
When I came back from the Navy, my father had, I told you he had a radio station in West Palm Beach area. Awesome. He had sold that radio station and had gone into the advertising and public relations business. while I was in the Navy, it wasn't my primary job. It wasn't what they hired me for, if you will.
Right.
But I always enjoyed writing, and I kind of created a Navy-based newspaper, kind of if to put it in internet terms, sort of just a, Wayne's World kind of,
right, like a zine
of newspaper,
right.
A zine.
that we published on the overnight shift and stuff. And my CO got a hold of it and said, "Look, this is crap that you're writing right now, but I would like to do a newspaper for our Navy base here." And so I got transferred into that position for a while.
Nice.
So I started getting some journalism training and some other stuff through the Navy. And
Okay.
when I got out of the Navy, my father had started an advertising and public relations firm in West Palm Beach, and I joined his company and spent 13 great years working with him. In doing, writing and account service and creative work and other stuff in a very high growth area of West Palm Beach. So that was great. That was great training and experience. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
At a point in family businesses, sometimes it's best to split up. So I did. My father and I, I left the company.
All right.
And my wife and I formed our own advertising company to compete with my father's company. And about a year after that, I got a call from the owner of the CBS television station here. I don't want to digress too far on how I got to know him, but it was through some work I was doing for one of our clients, one of my wife's and my clients, and I came to his attention, the owner of the TV station.
All right.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, I need somebody to be a director of marketing and community relations, and are you interested in the job?" So I took the job, and all of a sudden I was back in broadcasting, and I was at a CBS television station in West Palm Beach.
Okay.
I ended up staying there 20 years.
Wow.
My last 5 years I was station manager, and absolutely loved it. It was a great experience. I was working for the owner of the station the majority of that time, singly owned man in the community that owned the television station, and we had a great local news presence, and so it was great. So I did that for 20 years, and about 15 years into that television gig. And this would have been in the mid 2000, like 2005 or so.
Okay.
I reconnected with some people that had been in my life that were historians. My godfather is a retired professor emeritus of history at the University of Florida.
Okay.
And he wrote a lot of books about Florida history. So I kind of reconnected with him after many years. My dad and I did. We got back together again and as father and son and reconnected with him. And the guy, and his name is Mike Gannon, Gannon.
Okay.
And he said, nobody has ever written a book on the history of broadcasting in Florida, and you ought to do it. So I said, oh, okay. So I thought that sounded kind of interesting because of my family's background in broadcasting, my, relatively limited, but in certain respects pretty good view of the industry from the 1940s all the way through current time.
Right.
And so I started to work about 12 years ago, actually, on writing this book. I started researching and just, when I tell people I worked on it for 12 years, now I had a more than full-time job at Channel 12, the CBS station here.
Okay.
So it was early mornings, weekends, and sometimes long periods of no working on the book. But it did come a span of 12 years to develop the book.
And that's what I think is incredible, Don. I mean, and you kind of segued that beautifully from your existing life, and I love the fact that you're saying it took over a decade.
Yeah.
That's passion. I mean, that's awesome. So go on.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea going into writing the book. I said, well, I've never written a book before, but I kind of know how to write, and I
Right.
know something about the industry. So I just started plugging away at trying to figure out where the first stations were and stuff. Probably the first 4 or 5 years of the book were really spent in just trying to develop a list of every station in the state back to its origins.
Okay.
I thought that would be easy
Yeah.
because
Wikipedia
all radio
that.
and television stations are licensed by the federal government.
Uh-huh.
But I found out that until 1985, none of those records were on computer.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go back to the 1920s when the first radio
Yep.
stations went on the air
1922
Florida
in Tampa.
with any certainty. Yeah, in Tampa.
That's right, 1922. I know this because I researched
WJBW,
your book. Yeah, I read that from your book today, actually.
Great,
So, yeah.
great. So I started just kind of plugging away at trying to build a database of every station. I felt that was important to kind of create the skeleton, if you will, the backbone of the book, so that there would be a historical perspective, a timeline that ran through the book, even though I go off that timeline on tangents and stories a lot, but it is chronological.
Right.
And I thought that would be easier to follow, plus simple mind like mine, I figured that'd be the easiest way for me to write it. So,
Nice.
so
That's good tips
I
for
did
us.
that. I developed that database. I wished I had intended to, and wished that I could have, include that database like as a CD with every book sold.
Right. Okay.
People would like to be able to go in and plug in the call letters of some station they remember where they were a kid, and then go back and look at every ownership change, call letter change,
Right.
and everything else.
Hey, that being
I still
said-
have that database, and one day I'm going to figure
Wow.
out how to get it probably on the internet.
That being
in a
said, Don,
form
I
that
want
would
you.
be useful.
Hey, I want you to explain to people how the call letters came about, especially in the earlier days. That the letters actually stood for a phrase or whatnot.
Well, actually, they did and they didn't.
Okay.
Most station call letters were actually assigned by the federal government,
All right.
by the Federal Radio Commission at first, and that turned into the Federal Communications Commission. Most call letters came about that way. There are a lot of instances in the state where owners would request a certain set of call letters, and
Okay.
in most cases the FCC would approve that. But, for example, we were talking about WDAE in Tampa.
Uh-huh.
WDAE, that was simply assigned by the federal government as the next sequential letters that they had to assign,
Gotcha.
on some table of assignments.
Right.
But the owners and promotion people wanted to apply a meaning to that because it's hard to remember call letters, but it's easier to remember phrases.
Right.
And so WDAE ascribed the meaning wonderful days and evenings.
Oh, nice.
And remember, in the early days of broadcasting, AM broadcasting, there were not a lot of regulations with regard to how far you could cover.
Okay.
And without getting too technical for me, because I'll get quickly over my head, AM radio waves actually travel in straight lines, but they bounce off the ionosphere
Okay.
and can be heard distances of hundreds or thousands of miles away.
Okay.
I used to listen in when I was in Orlando at WLOF. When I was going home at night, I would listen to WABC in New York and other stations. And a lot of people that have, even now, if you kind of tune around the dial, your AM dial, you can pick up stations from all around the world,
Right.
or all around the country because of this atmospheric skip. The early stations, WDAE, WSUN in Tampa, which adopted the slogan "Why Stay Up North?" WSUN.
Right.
Oh,
Those
wow.
stations, a lot of their audience was actually in the north, especially at night when the signal
wow.
dipped even further. So, and they were to promote, come on down
Yeah.
to Fun and Sun in
Tampa.
Florida,
Yeah.
to freezing audiences up north.
It's like, how's this rogue signal being picked up here? That's phenomenal.
That- yeah.
And see, that's what I love. It's fantastic in integral little pieces that fit together. So Donn Colee Jr. on the line with us, man. You are just giving us the straight dope, and I love it.
Yeah.
I eventually want to keep talk a little bit more about the book, but this kind of conversation is very organic, and
right.
So I don't want to interrupt it or try to control it or move it in a direction. But I do want to say, a huge thank you for working to document that, and I love to see the progression of hey, you started in this and kind of moved organically over here and did this because you almost had no choice, and so I just want to say thank you. For documenting everything and doing it in this book. It is a remarkable read. I want to encourage people to go invest the time, go to towersinthesand.com and go. I think it's on Amazon as well.
So I got something.
Yeah, it's actually no longer on Amazon.
That's good. Exclusively.
It's still listed on Amazon, but
it just leads you to the site.
Did not resupply them.
Oh, gotcha.
The business terms. Amazon runs a very good business for Amazon.
But
it's not really very good for small authors like me. If I was selling 1 million books, it would be fine.
Yeah.
But
it's not very user friendly.
It's pretty expensive to sell through Amazon.
The
only place to get the book, other than a few historical society libraries, is at towersinthesand.com.
Okay.
And I'll just give one quick commercial announcement for the book. The hardbound book, the paperback book, the paper book, real tangible book, is about 722 pages in length.
Okay.
And it's $29.95.
All right.
There is also an ebook available, which can be for Kindle, Droid, Android, iPads, anything else. That's also available at my website, and that's $8.99.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little more, competitive, or a little less of a pricey price tag.
There you go. All right, that's
more
good.
Affordable, if you will.
That's good. But and that I think is the point. So to take that little break and actually, get that information out there is fantastic. But
so I got a phrase that I want to say, and when I went Don to talk about it. Good evening, and may the good news be with you.
Okay.
He'll know what I'm talking about.
May the good news be yours.
May the good news be yours. There you go.
Okay,
so let's talk about
Luke Skywalker over there.
No, Don will explain.
Good night, and may the good news be yours was the sign-off line for Ralph Rennick.
There you go.
Ralph Rennick worked at WTVJ, Channel 4 in Miami.
Okay. For how many years? Like 40 years or something?
A bunch of years, probably close to that. Yeah. In fact, I'm sure it was about that.
Right.
The station was the first television station in Florida, really one of the first television stations in the country.
Right.
Ralph Rennick was 21 years old when he became news director and main anchor at that station.
Okay.
And they were truly making it up as they went along. They figured out how to do local news in a time before videotape,
right?
In a time before satellite feeds.
It was all live.
It was all live.
Right.
Yep.
So no room for mistake while you were on air, and that's the thing. He really did shape what broadcasting, news broadcasting, nightly news, how it's set up as far as
journalism.
And it's quite a rich history, and it's something that, being a second generation Floridian myself, that I'm kind of proud of, and that's another reason why I appreciate your book the way I do.
Yeah, Ralph certainly did. He certainly did a great job of defining kind of how you set a news organization up. As I said, there were other stations around the country that were doing local news, but they were all in about the same state of disadvantage, if you will. And of course, in Orlando, the first television station that went on the air was WDBO,
right?
And
which is still.
I've got my Kindle edition of the book right here, because I want to look up and see if I can quickly find the date.
Okay.
That WDBO, interestingly enough, was originally the radio station WDBO AM,
which is still here
established
today
at Rollins College.
Exactly. Yes.
And it was a professor there that wanted practical applications for the work the classroom work.
Right, right.
Putting the theory to work, if you will.
Absolutely.
And so that's where that was established.
So here's something that you'll that I can tie in with you a little bit. I actually broadcast on 91.5, which is currently Rollins College Radio, and this is back in 1989. And I actually had to get my license to broadcast my voice over the air back then, even in the late 80s. So that's why when we're talking about that, I knew what you meant about getting your license, because it's not hard at all. I mean, you just basically apply for it.
In some cases, you have to be certified to
do
something to the generator, to the actual unit,
right
there itself.
But I like to tie in with WDBO actually being part of Rollins, and now Rollins actually still has 91.5, so they kind of kept that alive for the students, if you will, and
that's
free
PRK, right?
Exactly, PRK, and that's right. I mean, I think that's a great thing.
The best in
basement
radio.
No, the best in basement radio, because it's in the basement
radio. That's right. That's right.
All right. So
that's right.
They're doing a nice job on there, and I'm really so glad that they were able to remain independent. There were some moves to try and take over that station and turn it into a serious grown-up station. And why the heck should that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be room for that.
Don, that's a great point, because that's exactly what I think. We were talking about in the concept of broadcasting having to change and morph. Where people can maybe do stuff on Bluetooth. But here's the big thing, is that when you're talking about the voice of the people, I believe that at some point you're 100% right. I would never want to see this traditional broadcasting or radio go away.
Yeah,
I
don't think it
integral.
will.
I think it's what are you seeing kind of as the signs now for the industry? Given that you've really taken note all along the way, you wrote an awesome book about it.
Well,
I'd love to get your insights.
I could tell you that I really had a clear picture of where the industry is going to go.
Right.
I asked that question of everybody that I interviewed for the book, and most people said, "Gee, I really wish I knew," because there are a lot of competitive pressures against the continued success of over-the-air broadcasting. Most radio stations in most markets now are owned by a handful of large corporations. And while, those corporations have a right to make money, they have a right they have a right to run their business as they want, they want. But they do continue to operate over the public's airwaves, and the license still has an obligation to serve, quote, in the public interest, convenience, and necessity.
Right.
And unfortunately, for many of those stations, that's gone away.
Yeah.
There are no commercial limitations anymore. There's no equal time provisions for contrasting and points of view that leads to a lot of talk radio and cable, and I shouldn't say cable because they're not regulated the same way.
Right.
But extreme right, extreme left views, things that I don't know that promote dialogue as much as they promote people living in kind of their own silos and caves.
Exactly, like censored.
I believe that the best way to be an informed citizen is to hear different points of view.
Absolutely.
The only way I'm going to learn something about somebody else is if I listen to them.
Right.
And if I only listen to people that I know and I like and I agree with, then I'm going to think I'm the smartest guy in the world, and I'm never going to get any other opinions. So that's one of the things that worries me about if mass media, which is getting beat up these days.
Rightfully so.
If mass media goes away, and there's no, there are fewer and fewer ways for people to hear new ideas. That's worrisome to me.
Right.
And from a community perspective, in my book, I spotlight the work of a lot of people, including in Orlando. The first chapter of my book is called "A Voice in the Wilderness."
Okay.
It focuses on the work of the former owner of WFTV Channel 9.
Okay.
It was WLOF-TV when it went on the air, Channel 9. The man's name is Joseph Breckner.
Uh-huh.
And in the late 1950s, he decided that his television station needed to take on racial integration of Orlando.
Wow.
I grew up in Orlando. I'm almost 70 years old now.
Okay.
When I remember downtown Orlando, the colored and white drinking fountains.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that, that there were no blacks sitting at the counter at the Walgreens or the drugstore.
Right.
That it was a segregated city, as all cities were in the South.
So, and actually, you going to Edgewater High School was Dubstred. That Dubstred, that was completely segregated as well.
Yeah. My high school class was completely white. Was all white.
Wow.
It integrated, I think, probably 5 or 6 years. Began integration 5 or 6 years after I graduated in 1965.
Okay.
But Breckner, when he came to Orlando, he said, "This is wrong. We should not be a segregated community. We should be an integrated community."
Uh-huh.
And working with the mayor at the time, they formed a task force on a civil rights task force.
Okay.
And through hard-hitting editorials, through news coverage, through the KKK putting stickers on the front door of WFTV, threatening to blow up their transmitter.
What?
They kept the pressure up, and as a consequence, Orlando integrated its lunch counters, integrated its
awesome.
its movie theaters, and far before many other cities in the South did, and with far less civil unrest.
Discord.
Wow. Okay, so that is awesome. That's well, I was born here,
and that's the first chapter of my book, because I really thought that spelled out in great detail a huge story of the value of independent media to express, to expose and express what is right in a community.
Wow.
And they did it. They did it great.
That's great.
They did it well. My worry is that as broadcast becomes more of a commodity, and if station owners don't invest in local news, investigative journalism is expensive, editorializing is risky and expensive.
Right.
But if they don't do that, then who's going to do that?
That's great.
And
right.
I think as a society we will be missing something.
Well, and two, I mean,
very important.
and it's so crazy. We have the technology where anyone could be man on the street, and it's just phenomenal, though. But like you're saying, people are in their own little bubbles or silos, or they have their own, pattern. We're creatures of habit, I guess. We say as we do this live every week out of a humble little room in a studio here. Being able to talk with people, to learn, to exactly say what you're doing, and that's, I'll tell you honestly, in my history, and that's why I originally said after 2008, 2009, the show I was a part of was a failure, and so I said, hey, I got the technology, I can do all this on my own. So I really started on YouTube, and I will say, if there is a huge community, YouTube is still pretty dang large as a beacon of originality. They allow a lot of stuff. So we cross-post this live broadcast over to YouTube once it's processed, finished, and done. It sends a copy of it over to YouTube. So, because it's such a huge platform. But in saying that, it kind of ties in nicely with, saying that some of these larger tech companies could really, be a part of the solution, because as they talk about taking away public television and things like that, this is not a direction that goes towards benefiting humanity. And like you say, it's written in a very important document, that there are certain inherent rights, that people have. So, withholding knowledge again. That's not good. Don't tell me that. All right, stop that. Why are you laughing?
That's where it's at.
Okay, all right. That was crazy.
That was.
WJBWnetworks.com. We are talking with Donn Colee Jr. and you rock, good man. I really want to thank you again. We've got a few more minutes with you. Besides telling people to go to towersinthesand.com. I kind of wanted to close and get your a little bit more of the direction, and that's kind of where we were going now. Not forecasting,
like your final thoughts,
Noah. We're not trying to get you to be Nebuchadnezzar or anything. It's
well, here's what I. I'm out kind of on the speakers circuit as much as possible.
Okay.
Speaking to historical societies and Rotary clubs. Next week I'm going to be, or 2 weeks I'm going to be up in the town of Crestview in the Panhandle.
Okay.
There's a great story about a guy who was 19 years old and built his own radio station by himself by hand and still owns that station today, 50 years later. But when I go to these audiences, the last part of my presentation talks about the last chapter of my book, which is Florida Broadcasting's Next 100 Years.
Okay.
It's optimistically titled that. Yeah. And what's happening in the industry with regard to the decrease in investment in local news, and what's happening to audiences when that happens. And the answer is the audiences start to leave. So it paints a picture that says this is a little bit scary, but then it does spotlight the work of a few stations that are just doing a superb job. Down here in South Florida, we have a public radio station, WLRN, which covers all of the South Florida area now through translators and others. That's just doing a superb job. They've got a 19-person news department in partnership with the Miami Herald.
That's great.
They're producing tremendous local news and documentary coverage and stuff. So it can be done. Now that's a public radio station.
Okay.
So its funding method is a little bit different than commercial stations.
Exactly.
But
it's from the people.
I believe my challenge to broadcasters is look at what made us special in the past and try to figure out ways to replicate that connection with the audience, providing real, tangible connections to the audience. And in some cases, that's purely entertainment, but in some cases, it's going to be a lot of news and maybe some entertainment. That's a challenge to broadcasters. My challenge to audiences is to hold their local radio and television stations accountable.
Yeah.
When they do something well, call them up and congratulate them or thank them. Or even better, when you hear an advertisement, a commercial on that station for a local business, go into that local business and say, you know what, I heard your commercial on this station.
Right.
That station's really doing a great job.
Exactly.
They're covering our community like nobody else is. They uncovered this scandal, and they're just really doing a great job. So thank you for advertising on that station.
Hey.
The other thing I suggest to people is that they write letters to their local radio and television stations, praising them or holding their feet to the fire. There still is a requirement for every commercially licensed broadcast station or every licensed broadcast station to keep what's called a public file. And that public file is available for inspection by anybody. And at license renewal time, even though license renewal is just a postcard application now, nobody wants to have negative comments in their public file.
Gotcha.
So I just say don't take it for granted. Don't. And that's really one of the things I hope to do in this book, to remind people of the good times and the good work that's been done.
Okay.
So that hopefully they will reset the bar for what should be expected from broadcasters who operate on the public airwaves and what audiences should expect from their local broadcasters.
Right. Awesome.
So maybe there can be, an uprising. Now, every station in every community is not going to do that. But if there can be one station in every community that really says, hey, I'm going to be the local station, I'm going to cover local news, maybe I'll editorialize, I'm going to hire real people who live in the community to be on the air, I'm going to pay them as well as I can, I'm going to really work to find creative ways to finance all of this stuff,
right?
Maybe it can be turned around.
Gotcha.
I hope so.
Hey, we're running up against the clock, but it's been awesome talking to you, Don. We're talking with Donn Colee Jr. And Towers in the Sand. It's also your website as well, Towers in the Sand.
Colee Jr. Yeah.
Donn Colee Jr. I'm sorry, getting a little excited. We are running up against the clock, but what you're saying, and I want to express again and thank you. I'm going to write you a letter, and I'm going to, but we really
I'll put it in my public file.
There you go.
No,
It's
well, I think most importantly, it's valuable. It's insightful.
Absolutely.
You've had a long, storied career, and we are so privileged and honored
Yes,
that
it's been
you
great.
spent some time with us, man, and really gave us, a straight line. Because as I think I was saying, when I started this concept, it was just like, hey, I want to take everything that I love about radio and just do it on my own and not be controlled. So we've had our bumps and bruises along the way, and then this guy came along and came with was open for a commitment, and we changed the name, and we kind of rebranded, and we're still under that WJBW banner. So,
and I've learned a lot talking with you tonight.
It's
Absolutely,
as much as an exercise for us each
Absolutely,
week.
it is.
To discipline ourselves to be here
Gaining
and
knowledge.
do this and talk with people, and you've really just given us a treasure trove.
Yeah, you have.
Of
You
great
inspire me for sure.
information. So thank you once again, Don.
Yeah, Don.
You really are a remarkable guy, and we appreciate all the work you've done in documenting the broadcast history here in Florida.
I'll have to get that applause track for my presentation too.
There you go. I can set you up.
Thanks a lot, guys.
we're
I
gonna
really appreciate your interest and your interest in the book and your interest in the topic, and continue the good work.
Well, fantastic. And Don, email me if you want to talk about database stuff with getting information or what have you. We could talk.
And we'll send you a link as well, Don, so you can actually listen to this broadcast as well.
We'll be able to hear it later.
Good,
Yeah.
because I'd like to link to it from my Facebook page and website.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, there's the clap tracks again. You got some again.
Hey, good evening, and may the good news be with you.
Thank you.
No, it's not. That's not the expression. You got to call him out, Don.
Yeah,
that's
Don,
going
how's
on
it
your
go?
public file. You did that twice now, Luke Skywalker.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
All right.
Take
May
care.
the good news be yours, I believe it is.
That's right.
There you go.
All right.
All right, Don.
Thanks,
thank you
Don.
so much, man. You rock. WJBW. We'll be right back. Enjoy some music, and then the news, and we're out of here. WJBW Orlando, the very first quasi-radio web show.
I was once an airplane. I was once an albatross. I was your undoing, and I broke down. Come time to pay the cost. I don't have a thought in my head. I don't know how I got here. I tend to keep myself sedated, waiting for my own imminent death. There aren't any good reasons for most things that happen, but you are coming in to season.
the first quasi-radio web show.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That was fantastic, right?
Yeah.
That was remarkable.
Who was that?
Donn Colee Jr. Right before or after that, we heard from the Loving Knives.
What? The Loving Knives, are they local?
Yeah. No, they're from up north.
Oh, well, they should be local.
AM Waves.
Maybe they should move down here.
Check
if they listen to the AM Waves, we could do broadcasts.
Oh, yeah, we're broadcasting. I love
come down here.
The detail.
Dude, I learned a lot from talking to that guy.
That was such a valuable lesson. So that was great. I'm so glad we got that line.
Let me tell you something, JB. And this, as I was listening to him and listening to you and being part of the AM station that you were in the 90s, and me telling you that I actually had to go apply for my FCC license so I could broadcast on PRK. Right. That was kind of a big deal. I mean, I was like 18 years old, you know?
It starts young. So it's ironic. So I'm so glad.
So I had this passion.
I'm glad you mentioned
back
that.
Then.
We were talking about your 100th episode coming up.
Oh,
and I went back and listened. It's episode 109. It's still out there.
Okay.
And it's good. We had a good going back and forth. And we were kind of, I was learning about you. Then you really turned into a guest. And then it was like a co-hostess. We ended up prank calling somebody, or you told us a story about a guy on diabetes or something like that.
Yeah,
it was
like
crazy. Anyway, I go back and listen to it if you want to. There you go. It's right through Spreaker or iTunes or wherever it is.
So that being said, I'm glad you brought up the 100th episode because that is going to be April 11th, which is a Tuesday night, not next week, but the week after.
Right.
And I will tell you this: I have two very special guests coming to be in studio with us.
Okay, potentially
it's going to happen.
Okay,
it's going to happen. We can't announce it yet.
You have it. Okay, we're going to confirm it. Okay.
Yes, and we're going to wait.
Okay.
We'll wait.
All right.
But it's going to be big, and I'm excited about it.
It's going to be
yeah.
No, I think it's remarkable to think. So I wanted to thank you for your dedication and. All of your
Google that right now.
Things that you
I need a cock.
contribute to the show in multiple fashions.
Girl. That's where it's at.
Okay, well, I was following you.
Thank you
for a while. What about the where you got that one?
That is one of my favorite ones. That should be a cartoon right there.
I like that one too. That was a good time that night.
Of course, and it resurrected a little.
I've been living the American dream. That's where it's at.
So hey, that being said, with the 100th episode, well, I'm gonna with your help compile a list of all the people that we've talked to since I've been on board. And
well, I think that would be that'd be good to do because when you came on board, we really had a good trajectory.
Yeah, we still do.
We still do. Yeah, of course. But I think that to go back, we looked at it. Your trajectory, man. Don't show me your trajectory. All right. Well, anyway, let's do. You ready to do some news? What do you want to talk about? Some other stuff?
No, we can. Were you gonna? Oh, this is a good one.
JB Rap Show.
You're singing along with your own.
JB Rap Show. We'll be right back. Yeah. Right back.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
And that was a good time too. I've been having some good times with you. I must say.
Congratulations to us.
We're
back. Thank you.
Are we going to? Do you want to do a prank call? You want to get someone to call?
Oh, we do have somebody to call, but you got to give me the number.
Do I?
Yeah,
I got to give you the number.
That's pretty much how it works.
So,
I have it in here somewhere.
All right. Yeah.
I think it's probably.
Okay. So as we go through the, I can. Here we go.
That's our new holding music. There you go.
This is the number, that tiny little number up in the corner. Can you see that? Oh, okay. Can you see that? You can take the phone with you and just dial that number right there, and we'll call a friend of mine. It's actually his birthday today, and he's in L.A. and he just worked with Steel Panther the past couple days doing this lowdown. We'll have to ask him about it, but some award show, and I guess we're calling him right now. He's probably in his cruising down the road in his smooth Cadillac.
Hello?
Hey, Jason. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, man.
Trying to get my ass home. What's up?
Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Hey, thanks, motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Put your hands up. Put your
41. Oh, man. Hey, so you cruising down the road right now in your car?
I'm cruising down the street.
Sorry about that.
Awesome, man. I can't wait for you to be around soon. You know what I'm saying?
I know, man. We had a fucking awesome time.
Yeah, we
It's
are,
your
dude.
birthday. Yes, it is. It's your birthday.
We're going to be the big show.
So happy birthday to you.
Yeah,
It is
Monday
your
night.
birthday.
That's
Yes, it
where
is.
it's at.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's your birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Let's get excited.
Dude, I'm totally excited. I can't wait for you. Yeah, I can't wait to hang out, dude.
Well, happy birthday, Mr.
JB going?
I don't know.
No,
He's got-
JB's not going.
I'm on
He's not cool.
lockdown.
He's not cool like
I
that.
still got this.
Yeah, you know.
Come on, JB.
I got this ankle bracelet. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
Hey.
I will want to see you though, and we can potentially get you in studio. What a great resource in this guy.
Yeah.
And again, you're always out there doing cool stuff.
Yeah, he was just working with Steel Panther
Talking with
past
Jason,
couple days.
Mr. Kennard,
Yeah.
Mr. Jason Kennard out there.
How was that?
Steel Panther!
Absolutely, man.
Man,
Oh, man, that was
Rock and
fucking
roll.
great. Those guys are the most genuine performers I've ever met. Like, totally approachable, really nice, real
Right.
funny, just awesome group of guys.
nice. That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah. And the show went off without a hitch, and the lighting looked awesome, and I think I got a new good money making client out of it. So
well, awesome.
I'm happy.
Why don't you go hit the road with those guys and do their lighting on tour with them?
That would be fucking great.
that would be because I mean, you know, get you a chance to see the rest of the country because I know you've only been to New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Wow. You can tell. I can tell when he's starting to go off the rails now. I see.
I just love this guy. I can't wait to see you. I cannot wait to
rock,
see you,
buddy.
dude.
Thanks for giving us a couple
Happy
minutes.
birthday,
Happy
Jason.
birthday.
I can't wait to see you guys.
Happy birthday. Yeah, you rock. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, buddy. I'll see you
guys,
soon.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Peace, buddy. Thank you. There he
West
is.
Coast out.
Out there. There he is.
Yeah. Later.
Oh yeah.
That's right. It's the JB Rev Show. We're coming at you live from Orlando. We're here in the studio, rocking out. The boys with the noise. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Coming at ya. What?
Okay. Come on.
And there you have it. All right, man. Are we going to just break some news badly or
That's how
what?
you do it.
There you go. Hey, I got some news.
And now,
I got a prediction.
do it now.
I have a prediction. I hope this does not come true.
Do it now.
I don't even want to manifest it by saying it, but I'm
Let it
really,
go, let it go.
I'm really feeling it. I think this is not going to be a good year for storms.
Oh,
I think we're
storms.
going to get hit.
Okay.
Yeah, hurricanes. There's already a major
Hey, what makes you think that?
low pressure system that has formed up near like Ireland, and it's like got hurricane force winds, like 45-foot waves. It's
Okay.
I'm telling you. And then you know how warm it's been. We didn't really have much of a winter, so the waters are going to be warmer. And El Nino was like 2 years ago.
There's gonna be some El Niños
Factor in
there.
2004,
That's right.
divide that by 17, and you got right now. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but you know it's coming.
Okay.
That's
so
why
thanks.
the broadcast,
That's
we were talking
the
about,
weather
AM,
prediction.
FM
Okay.
is
It's the
very
weather
important.
prediction.
Get your battery operated AM, FM
Noticing
radio
a discrepancy
right
in
now.
the complexion of the atmosphere.
Buy
you
a gun.
It sounds like you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Protect yourself.
You're noticing a
Protect
discrepancy
your kitties and wife.
in the complexion of the atmosphere.
Take care of your kitties and wife. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
You got kitties. You got a wife. I got kitties. I got a wife.
Okay.
Just protect your kitties and wife.
Okay, man.
I love you, Dana.
What?
Oh, she's up next to the
Lost
speaker.
his mind. Okay, stop that.
I love her.
All right, you watch it too many movies.
Beautiful wife. My bride forever.
Okay, well there you go. So that's the
Forever. I
first,
love her so much.
first story out of the way.
What are you
out of the
doing,
way.
baby?
Good. The Reverend loves
Checking you
Dana.
out right now.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, the WashingtonPost.com has an article that says spiders could theoretically eat every human on Earth
Absolutely.
in 1 year.
1 year. That's all it takes. Every spider, eat every human on Earth. Done deal.
Yep, great
That's coming
article.
too. Right
There,
after the
Washington
hurricanes.
Post. Yeah.
Spiders
Good.
are coming.
Good.
Spiders are coming to get you.
Good.
Can take a year.
Good lead
to
in, buddy.
long, slow death. Eaten by spiders.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
That's Oxy.com.
We're all going to die.
Ozzy. Sorry.
Yep.
This millennial might be the new Einstein.
Can't touch this.
Really? Why? What's this millennial doing?
So
What's he gonna? What? That's all you. That's this millennial.
there's
What?
my
So
investigative journalism.
how is
right
this
there.
millennial going to be the next Einstein?
It's an article. It's there. We're breaking news badly.
Yeah. Well,
All right, moving on.
No, you just see. This is why your news is so bad. It's breaking.
We just say these
It's like
stories.
breaking two electric boogaloo.
It's Nerdist.com. Spinach leaves can carry blood to grow human tissues.
Oh, everybody knew that.
We may soon make human heart tissue out of spinach leaves.
We love that.
Nerdist.com.
Nerdist diet. See the websites you go to? Weird.
Wired.com. Meet the
Wired.
woman who can see with her ears.
Oh, I met her.
Pat Fletcher.
She kept going, what?
The last
up.
thing, it sounds like a comic book thing. Here's how the last thing 21-year-old Pat Fletcher saw before the explosion was the chemical-filled steel tank beside her suddenly balloon outward. With alarm, she realized that the plastic hose in her hand had grown unusually hot.
Hey.
The world flashed blinding bright.
Hey, man.
And
You
turned
remember
into
when we decided to put the music in the background when you started doing Breaking News Badly?
Yeah.
I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, you go.
Because I'm listening more to the music than I'm
Oh,
listening to you.
Okay, I'll turn it down.
No.
Okay. Is that what you
I
think?
like it. That's what I'm
Is that what you
saying.
think? Oh,
that was a
okay.
good idea of mine,
Oh, okay.
I must say.
Okay.
I'm glad actually, it was Andrew's idea, wasn't it?
There
When
you
Andrew was Spears.
Funk the News. Yeah, that was Funk the
Funk the
News.
News.
Was
Funk the News. We
inspired.
should do the Funk
Where's
the
Let me
News.
go get the...
Do the music. I'll do the music, and then
What?
I'll talk and be like, oh, man.
No,
You know what happened in Mount Baraka? They got a new rock and roll station. The boys with the noise came and took that shit over, man. It was like WDAE. We do it all evening. D-A-E. W-E-A-A. W-E my. There's Nim in there too. Electric Boogaloo.
W-E my D.
W-E my knee.
There you go. All right, whatever.
The bee's knee.
We're never going to make it to... Serious.
This is
We're
some
just
shenanigans
fooling
going on. It's like,
We're just
don't
fooling
believe
ourselves,
it.
Rev.
We are.
I don't believe the hype about us.
There's a great Styx
you?
song called "Fooling
Okay.
Yourself." That's it's what we're doing.
Well,
I mean, why am I even here?
yeah, man. Why?
I mean, it's already
Done the news.
8:39.
Oh, my God. New Steely Dan album.
Oh, what?
Did you hear this? Billboard.com. New Steely Dan album. It's in the air.
In the air. That Phil Collins did that. In the air tonight.
In the air yesterday.
In the air.
That was from 2013, dude. All right.
Okay, see,
Did you? All
you're
right, you
saying
got the
current.
red herring.
Yeah.
WSJ.com. No clues on why you can't escape cockroaches. We got spiders and cockroaches. The mothers can live and
What?
reproduce without a male.
Oh,
That's
man.
that's Slick Rick's children's story is getting turned into a real book. This is
Slick
on
Rick?
HuffingtonPost.com. Yeah, remember Slick Rick?
Oh, of course I remember Slick Rick. I mean, it's
Children's story.
Come on. Of course, Slick Rick doing a children's story about little kids being all
man.
on the slick.
You don't remember that?
No, what? What do you?
Yeah, do.
What happened?
I'm trying to remember the.
I don't remember much of last week's, JB. So tell me what happened with Slick Rick in the children's book.
Well,
what happened to the Funk the News with the music?
Huh?
That was good stuff in the background. I like that.
Like that?
Yeah, it was good. I love you, baby. Dana, I'm coming home.
Okay, wow.
Get up next to the speaker, baby. Come on.
What?
I want you to feel the bass.
Okay.
Feel it, baby. I'm coming home to Dana. Because it's my bride. I love her.
All right. Well, there you go.
Secret.
What?
Secret. I got it.
All right. You want to get out of here then?
Yeah, man. Let's play the kitties.
Okay.
Meow.
What else we got? Okay,
Well, that was a great show, man. Donn Cooley.
Okay, finally, how science rewires your brain to be more intelligent. How
nice
science
segue.
Rewires your brain. It's IdeaPod blog.
Your brain is wired
you can go to that
sideways.
And, great stories there.
That is a great story.
Donn Colee Jr. TowersInTheSand.com.
Yeah.
You can go there.
Artarmy.org.
There you go.
That's great. Let's not forget Pocahontas.
The revolution has begun. From the front lines to your imagination. A revolution is a dramatic change in ideas or practice. This is a revolution, a dramatic change. This is the art.
There you go. Thank you so much. It's been a blast. I'll play a little music after this, but Pocahontas.com. Go there. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. Kush Ultra Lounge, downtown Orlando.
Gary Swartz.
Modern Music Movements. Art Army, of course. Shannon Holt Art. And we thank all of you for getting behind us and helping to spread this voice of independence. We're going to go into a little bit of Ashes to New, our featured music here, a couple tracks for us. And again, we do send original music submission at WJBWnetworks.com. Attach an MP3 or an audio file. We'll review it and see if we'll play it on the Circadian Cast, our other live production. The Reverend across the way.
That's
Thank you,
me.
brother. You rock.
That's right. Thank you, man. Thank you, JB. You're awesome, too, you know.
All right, dig these sounds. We'll see you next week.
That's right.
Don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore, and I can't pretend I haven't been here before and haven't seen the end. I sometimes hope for a cure, I'm just lost within. I just don't care anymore, why can't I open my eyes and these lines they breathing, they feed off of me. I try to revive a design but can't seem to keep to agree. I hide in my mind and rewind the scene, no I flee underneath, but time after time I still find the day that passes by. The pain is not a mass inside, it's breaking me down to the ground. It's like I crash and died. It's hard to leave your past behind, especially when you're last in line. And half the time it acts like vines and wraps inside my fragile mind. Hiding in plain view, it seems the same old shit I choose between taking who I used to be and keeping it subdued beneath. Close to dead and losing me. You took a chance and you believe. So did I let you lead and grab the line you threw to me. And through it all, you saved me. You made me. And through it all, you changed me forever. You loved me. You hate me. And through it all, you changed me forever. You've given me a chance to change on me in ways I can't explain. I'll never understand the way you took my hand with no dismay. Now I'm who I am today, and that's the man I plan to stay, but can't escape. I can't evade. You stranded me and ran away. Why'd you do it? Why'd you leave? Why'd you help me find my feet? Why'd you got me blindly, then turn and say goodbye to me? All the time I tried to be the person you applied to me. The side you thinking I succeed is why I'm me and I agree. You saved me. You made me. And through it all, you changed me forever. You loved me. You hate me. And through it all, you changed me forever. Through it all, you changed me. I'm not the same, made for better or for worse. This person that you made me. Through it all, you changed me. I'm not the same, made for better or for worse. You changed me forever. It's killing me down deep within. It makes me strain to breathe again. All this pain, I keep it in. If it's the end when we begin, it's so hard to comprehend. Where we are is where we end. Let's make believe, let's just pretend. You don't hate me and want me dead. Watch you senses in my head and I'm relenting. Discontent, it torments me to no extent. It trenches me just like cement. It makes no sense what your intent. Blood for me, then blood instead. You never meant to be content. Fuck the words, let's just be friends. You saved me. You made me. And through it all, you changed me forever. You loved me. You hate me. And through it all, you changed me forever. Through it all, you changed me. I'm not the same, made for better or for worse. This person that you made me. Through it all, you changed me. I'm not the same, made for better or for worse. You changed me forever.
WJBW, Orlando, Florida. The first quasi-radio web show.
Wow. Yeah.